Hey guys, B here with our next Teen LibCrates talk. Today we are talking about The Field Guide to the North American Teenager by Ben Philippe. And so first I'm going to read you a description of this one, and then I'm going to talk about the first 80 pages or so. I did not get quite as far as I would have liked to get this week, but the crates were delayed a little bit, so that's okay. It's okay that we didn't get quite as far. I got this far, so about 25%. Right? Yeah, ish. A little bit more than 25%. So, description first. The Field Guide to the North American Teenager. Meet Norris Kaplan. As a black French-Canadian who has been recently plunked into Austin, Texas, he is not happy. Norris's superpower has always been the ability to wield a sharp comeback and keep people at a safe distance. He'll just do his time there until he can finally go back home. Having grown up on a steady diet of American TV, Norris knows just what to expect when he starts at a prototypical American high school. Sure enough, he soon encounters Artie, the manic pixie dream girl, preys on sexually inexperienced awkward teen boys. Madison, beta cheerleader, in the middle of the cheerleading pyramid, quote, good listener. Liam, the loner, sad eyes, headphones not necessarily playing anything. Harry Armpits, the bully, improperly groomed linebacker, missing link understudy. Against all odds, though, he finds himself with a love interest, a new potential best friend, and what appears to be a budding ice hockey team. Will he give in and start living his life and maybe even enjoy it? Or will he blow it all away by being, well, Norris? So, School Library Journal says this is the witty debut with whip-smart dialogue that will find much love among fans of authors like John Green and Jason Reynolds. Alright, so, yeah, when we start off, we are introduced to Norris and his mom, Judith. They have just arrived in Austin, Texas, and the most notable thing is the heat. So Norris and his mom are from Canada, and it's not as hot in Canada as it is in Austin. So one thing that Norris finds himself combating is armpit sweat, and a lot of it. He and his mom joke that there needs to be some sort of plan for tackling how many t-shirts Norris goes through in a day because he's so sweaty. But yeah, Norris is moving away from his dad. Dad has a new girlfriend and a baby, so a step sibling. And Norris is also moving away from his friend Eric. The reason that they moved to Austin is because his mom got a job at the University of Texas. And so Norris, so he's in high school. I'm getting all my ducks in a row here. And he's going to Anderson High School. And at Anderson, it's a pretty big school. There are a lot of students, and at first he's made fun of a little bit, or at least poked fun at, because he's Canadian, so people made, like, stereotypical jokes that were really annoying for him, and he ends up deciding that he's a loner. The book, I think, one of the fun characteristics of the writing is that at the beginning of the chapters, there's a little, like, entry into this quote-unquote field guide. So, for example, Chapter 4 begins loners and says, identifying characteristics. Headphones that aren't necessarily playing anything. Sad eyes. Stand out just enough to let you know to stay away. Habitat. Basement level lockers. And some other fun, interesting little tidbits of information. So each chapter has started out with a heading, a chapter name, and the characteristics of that particular thing. So the chapter I just left off on is called The House Party. And I don't know if I can find it quickly. I can. So, for example, attire, black t-shirt, jeans, weekend Jordans. Goals, 1, a meaningful exchange with Archie. 2, not getting hurled down a flight of stairs. So, that happened. Oops. But before we get there, I'm going to back up a little bit. So, Norris is not having an easy time connecting with his peers. He has this run-in with a group of teenagers, and by teenagers, I mean cheerleaders, and he's in the hallway minding his own business, and this door flies open and hits him in the head, and the cheerleaders come out of the door and blame him for, like, taking pictures of them, and accuse him of being a perv, and that's the last thing that he wants to be identified as, right? Primarily because it's not true. He was minding his own business. And so, in this interaction, a couple of things happen. One, we learn that Norris is a smart aleck. He can, just like the description says, he has a comeback for everything, and the cheerleaders give it to him, and he gives it right back to them. And it's not going well, as you can imagine. And Artie, this student who I think he's going to develop a crush on, comes out of seemingly nowhere and distracts the cheerleaders with her camera flashes, and artfully, I would say, gets Norris out of the situation so that he doesn't have to deal with the mean cheerleaders anymore. And he's intrigued by Artie. He wants to get to know her better, but the problem is that after that incident, after that run-in, he doesn't see her anymore. And, like, we find out that she doesn't really attend school regularly. So, that's kind of a bummer, right? So, Norris is a loner, right? And another one of the loners that he comes across is this kid named Liam Hooper. And Liam is this interesting guy. He's tall and has brown curly hair and talks really slow, and is just kind of super laid back and chill. And he wants to be Norris's friend. And Norris is just like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to be your friend. But in their first interaction, Liam is like, are you the rude guy from Canada? And Norris is like, that's rude. But Liam had in his hand a flyer, an ad, that had Norris's face on it, that was asking for people to inquire if they're interested in hockey and other interests, to, I guess, be Norris's friend. So Norris didn't put this up. His mom did. His mom put it up, on the University of Texas's campus, and Liam goes to the sweet turtle pond on campus and found this ad and thought, oh, yeah, that's that new kid. Plucked the ad and brought it to school with him to show to Norris to try to, make good on this ad to say, I would like to learn about hockey and other things. Really funny. So Liam and Norris get off on this weird starting point. And later, Liam asks Norris if Norris wants to hang out. And he says yes. So maybe they'll be friends. And then Norris applies for a part-time job at a restaurant called the Boneyard, and has this really interesting interaction with the boss, whose name is Jim, I think, and walks into Jim's office and is immediately handed a baby. That would be so interesting to walk into a potential job interview and be handed a baby. Like, here, hold this. And that's essentially what happened to Norris. But we find out that one of the cheerleaders, Madison, Maddie for short, she is Jim's daughter and works at the Boneyard. And so she comes in during their quasi-interview and basically gives Norris a thumbs up of approval to her dad, Jim, and Jim gives him the job. So that was really cool. We're not entirely sure why Madison was nice to Norris and gave him this hand up to, essentially secured him a job. But I have a suspicion we'll find out. Oh, yes, that's why. So Maddie, we learned that Maddie actually needs some more help with her duties at the Boneyard. And so having another person there who is really good, who would be able to hang and pick up some of the duties that she doesn't really have time for, would be advantageous for her. And so that's part of her game plan. But she and Norris make a deal that if he agrees to pick up some more of this extra slack that she has, that she will help get him connected with Artie, who he is interested in, being friends with at least, if not more. And so Norris grudgingly agrees to this. I don't get the impression that he's really into it, but he is really interested in Artie. So Maddie invites Norris to a house party, and that is where we left off. Artie is going to be at this house party, and so I'm interested to see what exactly happens. Does Norris and Artie, do they become friends? Do they have a good interaction at this house party? Do they not? We shall see. Excuse me. So, that's all I got for today. Until next week, be safe, be kind. If you haven't picked up your LibCrate yet, they are available at the library. You can get yours today, or any time that we're open. But otherwise, you all have a great day. Be safe, be kind, wash your hands, and we'll see you next week. Bye.